And we got a pretty interesting video today. We have Billy here
What up?
with
What up?
some barbershop stories, or his experience as a barber. So, do you want to talk about what deal with the kids of that have a bit of the autism?
Yeah, I mean the cool thing about the shop that I work at, like I was saying earlier, there's four of us. Um, Actually, the story about the barbershop's quite interesting. Might loop back to that. Anyways, the four of us that run the shop, um, we all we've all been doing it for a while now, and we all kind of pride ourselves in being the guys that can handle dealing with people who are on the spectrum, whether it be autism, Asperger's, anything like that. Because we all have family members, friends, people like that. We all know somebody like that. But there's a lot of barbershops in our city, and there's I don't know, one, two, three, four, five, I don't know, at least 10 within like a 12 block radius. It's kind of insane. But most of the time, we have it doesn't happen a lot because with people on the spectrum, it takes a lot of coaxing, a lot of negotiation. But we do have a lot of the TISM community basically swinging by, and it depends on the person. It can either be the easiest fucking haircut you've ever done in your life, or it can be a nightmare. They can either just be absolute champs and sit like statues, or it's like getting into a UFC fight with clippers in your hand.
Yeah, and I hear that's not really a good option.
No, and that's what like I said, we always say half a haircut is way worse than no haircut, or no haircut's better than half a haircut. So instead of starting the haircut, having the kid throw a tantrum, freak the hell out, traumatize the kid, we just we kind of gauge it before we start, and based on how the kid reacts to the consultation, basically, because can't really consult or do a consultation with somebody on the spectrum. So, um, yeah, it all depends. So like it's one of those like if it goes well, then you can tell the person like, all right, I know this is what you want for them, or this is what you were expecting, but like based off of how I can do this, like they don't want a lot taken off, but the person won't let you really near their head, but they keep moving their head. You can't do a scissor cut with somebody who's trying to, Muhammad Ali their whole time. So you can be like, all right, so we can either not do that haircut, or we can go super, super short. Most of the time, for some reason, I think it's a sensory reason. If you're like, hey, do you want to go super short? All of a sudden, the actual client, perks up for whatever reason, and it's like, yeah, they actually do want to go short.
Yeah, and do you got any other stories so that way we can keep it like still going? Do you got any of you've already told me before, but do you feel like sharing the worst thing that you hate, being recommended to do haircuts?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, like I said, personally, the worst request you can get as a barber is somebody who comes in with a photo of something that's completely different from their actual hair texture. So, like I said, there's different textures for different ethnic groups. So, for example, if you have an Asian guy who has pin straight, super 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 thin, fine hair, and they come in with a picture of Jimmy Butler when he's got his high skin fade and his braids and whatnot, it's like, okay, man, like I can give you something similar or as close as I can humanly get, but like I can't I can't reshape the structure of your hair. I mean, you can do it chemically. That's what a perm is, but not to that degree.
Yeah, and do you got any hang on? I have to move around because Rockstar being a bit fucky wucky.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but let me just move around a bit. Get the in-game legs moving, even though in reality that won't be a good idea. Just sitting here in real life. Um, of course, you to tell me about the Karens, on how they could be a pain. Like, what was the
I,
worst Karen you had? Like that you thought
um,
was
the worst Karen was actually a dude. That's the funny
Ken.
thing. Yeah, it was a Ken. It was a guy who used to come to the shop. We don't let him in anymore because, again, the audacity of this fool. Um, he he used to come in all the time, and no matter how long we committed to the haircut, no matter this isn't quite right, can you adjust this? Can you do that? What should have took no longer than half an hour usually took anywhere from an hour and a half to two. And even at the end, he wasn't happy, yet he would tip, and then complain as he left, and then come back. So eventually it got to the point where we were like, all right, we gotta do or say something. And then we saw his name come up, so we all prepared, like, all right, got to get ready for this, because it's either going to go really, 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 really bad, or it's going to go really, really good. Turns out that day he was bringing his kid. And we were like, all right, again, this is either going to go really well because the kid's going to sit like a champ, or this is going to go really bad. Let's see how this goes. And the kid was absolutely amazing. When I say kid, he was probably 11 or 12, so not quite a teenager, but like, an older kid.
Yeah.
And he just sat like a champ. And he wanted a very, 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 very basic haircut. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were Syrian. But he had basically, I can't remember if it was Indian or Middle Eastern hair. And again, I know that sounds racist, but it's just factual. It's different hair textures.
Yeah.
But anyways, so basically it was really, 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 really fine, but very tightly curled. And he wanted like a skin fade. And, one of the guys I work with, he's been doing skin fades his whole career. So, you do a blindfold basically. And he showed him a very basic picture, and he literally replicated the picture. And no matter how many times he tried to explain that the reason his son didn't look exactly like the picture was his hair color, his hair texture, and his skin tone was different than the gentleman's in the picture, the guy just wasn't having it, to the point where he actually snatched the clippers out of my coworker's hand. At that point,
Oh no.
everybody set their shit down, because that's like stealing a cop's gun. So at that point, every other barber put their shit down. We all stopped what we were doing. We're turned around. We're like, all right, buddy, you've got about 30 seconds to get out of the shop before you can't get out of the shop. Needless to say, he hasn't been back.
I wonder why. As soon as you said,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's like
No,
if I went. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, just don't don't pull something.
Yeah, you don't want to be Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, like, again, like, that's 4 Sweeney Todds coming at you. Like, unless you're gonna, it's Canada. You can't pull out a gun. So, like, don't be pulling shit like that.
Yeah, like, okay, the equivalent to, like, Texan-wise, you go in a fucking, I guess, like a dance hall.
Right,
We don't care about our boots being stepped on, no matter how nice or how ugly it looks.
right.
We're dancing in them. Don't fuck with our hats in Texas.
That's what I mean. Like, it'd be like coming up and slapping your hat off.
By the way, you know what that means?
Slapping your hat off?
That means you like me.
Oh, well, I mean, I could see why Texas, that would get you a double ass whooping.
No, mostly killed, probably.
I was gonna say, yeah, Texas ass whooping.
Yeah, but I actually got like a very like interesting like Karen story, but I feel like that'll be for later on, Like
Yeah.
I know my viewers are gonna love this, and
Well,
and,
I got plenty more horror stories as a barber, and I got plenty more just factual stories. So you just let me know what you need to hear.
yeah, I know, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this part so that way we can be done
Sweet.
with this, so we can like talk about more. And also, I
Nice.
gotta see if we got audio
Sweet.
from you and from me. Well, definitely
All
me.
right.
All right, so that's the end of the video.